yeah, we've almost caught up. He's very bright, and everything about him shows the intelligence is there. It's just this one part is lacking, and that the school district that he's in wants to support that until they feel that he's truly ready. And as a teacher myself, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a parent, oh my goodness.
Right.
I'm a grandparent now, too. That's what I'm thinking, too.
Right. I had a lot of fun last year. I would go up every other Friday and have lunch with him and read to his class after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the year, I would look at him and think, oh, he's not ready for first grade.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the interfering grandparent, but I was relieved when his teachers and my daughter and son-in-law came to the same conclusion and decided to let him repeat.
That's good. That's good.
And we'll be back with more Inside Scoop Live after these important announcements.
Inside Scoop Live is a global internet-based broadcast specializing in interviewing published authors about their current books and areas of expertise. I'm Juanita Watson, the host of the show, and invite you to join me as I bring to the air both well-known and upcoming writers. You will hear my guests talk candidly about their books, their life experience, specific topics, and the business of being an author in today's literary world. Always interesting and current, my intention is to bring our audience high-quality discussions that spotlight a vast diversity of authors in the field today. Our interviews are syndicated and archived for availability 24/7 through direct podcast and MP3 download. And as always, I love to hear from listeners. Have a look at our website, InsideScoopLive.com. Send me an email, comment on previous guests, and let me know who you'd like to hear on the show. I'll do my best to bring you your favorite authors live and direct.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop Live. Wow, interesting, isn't it? We are speaking with Deborah K.Frontiera, author of Fighting C.P.S, Guilty Until Proven Innocent of Child Protective Services Charges. Please stay tuned because there's just so much more we're going to talk about. The system is broken. So, going through all this, obviously, you talked about anger and frustration. Do you still have some underlying anger with CPS and the system?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
I have worked very hard at getting through the put this behind me, forgive kind of mode. And I've gone through that. I've reached the point where I can say, yes, I forgive you, but I can still be angry when you do this to somebody else.
Yeah.
And writing the book was very much a part of that, of trying to get it known so that maybe politicians will begin to fix the system. And maybe states will begin to say children need a larger priority. We need to better train these young caseworkers. Maybe they'll begin to see that it ought to be police who do the investigating, not caseworkers. And, maybe that'll prevent some other families from going through this.
At what stage are you at right now, besides writing the book? Are you advocating or, do you have a group that's presenting anything to change the system?
I've been in contact with one group that is working to that end. But as of right now, I'm not in a group yet. I'm focused on trying to get the word out about the book and then possibly getting speaking engagements with different organizations and trying to see then what action I can take from there and what it will lead me to.
One thought here is I'm still back on James, and just kind of really feeling for this child. He obviously doesn't really know, or he's too young to understand what really happened. Is there a point where all of you as a family will sit down and just explain it to him? Yes,
and that's another good reason for having the book is when he gets old enough that he can read at this level. The first thing his parents will do is hand him a copy and say, this is you, this is what happened. You might not remember it, you were too little to remember, but this is what was going on.
Now, this book has been out, and are you getting any controversy over it? or are people really just saying, wow, this has really happened and let's do something about it?
I'm beginning to hear a little bit. While I was still in Michigan's Upper Peninsula for the summer, I was at a festival in Marquette, Michigan, right at the end of July when I had first received the advanced copies, and I took a couple of them with me to this festival, and I was with other authors. We were all selling all of our books, and one woman picked it up and said, "Oh, I'm so glad somebody wrote this, but I don't think I can read it. I get angry all over again." And I sensed from that she had a similar experience. And another woman walked by and said, well, one surefire way to not fight CPS is to not beat your kids. And just about in that tone of voice, and I said, well, some people are wrongfully accused.
Mm-hmm.
And she turned away from me and said, not, and walked away. So I'm beginning to sense, yes, there will be polar reactions. And I think that's good, because anything that brings attention to an issue is going to get people talking, and if it gets people talking, maybe something good will happen.
Exactly, and that's what I'm thinking, and I'm reflecting as this woman that she didn't accept what your answer was, and it makes me think that probably she was abused at some point and has not been able to talk about it. So,
right, or perhaps she knew a child who was abused and nobody did anything about it.
Or was the abuser, but it had never come out. We never know. But something like this will at least get people talking, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully something good will be coming out of it, and I know that's your intent. What other intents do you have now that you've written the book and it's out there? Fortunately for your family, the ending ended up well, and the child is back in the home, and everything is stable right now. But now what?
That's a good question. I'm still involved with some of the other cases that I reported on, and I was hoping that one of them was going to have a happy ending with the child finally being returned to family, but I haven't heard from the aunt of the little girl again, and so I'm assuming that either the last hearing, which was supposed to be August 8th, went badly, or it was postponed again.
Mm-hmm.
Because CPS was doing some delay tactics with that case. So I'm still involved with some of the people that I spoke to and still following up. And I may start a blog off my website, posting other cases or other things I hear about to kind of keep the book ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of like speechless here too, because I'm still sort of all of a sudden putting myself into the parent's place and having a child that did have a seizure, and I'm thinking, my goodness, how much of this really does go on? How many people are really wrongly accused, and it doesn't turn out well? That the child is taken away from the parents forever, or the parents are wrongly charged and fined, or maybe imprisoned.
Right, and because they don't do a lot of investigation on many of these cases, they do go unreported, and people just eventually get back a child, or they don't, then they just give up. A lot of them because they're poor, they don't know how to navigate the system. They can't afford lawyers, and so they just have to let it go and grieve for losing that child and not have any recourse. And I'm not sure how to reach those people, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that. But
yeah.
The attention to this case and the attention to the problem in general may get a few politicians talking and looking at things.
I sure hope so. There seems to be a gap, and I know that there's a reason why Child Protective Services is in place, because there are children that are abused. There are children that need to be taken away from home, and they're better in a foster home or whatever, wherever, whatever happens in the end. there is a purpose for it, but this being wrongly accused